you doing? My name is Brian Marchese, and I'm here with Dacia Walker, and we're here with the city of Hampton. And today we're going to be talking about hurricane preparedness, and we brought in the best person we could think of with the city of Hampton, and that's Hui-Shan Walker. She's our emergency management coordinator with the city. How are you doing, Hui-Shan?
Good. Thanks, Brian and Dacia. I look forward to this conversation.
It's a good one. So this time of the year, I think this is one of the things you turn on the news, you see the Weather Channel, and you go, oh no, what's going to happen? Right. Is this going to be coming right at Hampton and that type of thing? And we've already had a storm with Dorian come through, and we're in the season, aren't we?
Absolutely. And you're talking about a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. We really want to encourage people to prepare. And right now, if you notice, there are 3 tropical storms out there. We're in our peak time of hurricane season for our region. So we really want to encourage people to pay attention to the weather, pay attention to the news, pay attention to the city website, social media, things like that. Anywhere you can get information, definitely want you to pay attention and get prepared.
So how early should you start getting prepared? I mean, I see people go nuts like in May, but is that too early or is it too late?
Oh, no, I think preparedness is a year-round event. So because not just hurricanes, you can be prepared for any type of disaster. We've got winter storms, nor'easters, severe thunderstorms. There's lots of things. It could be a man-made event, heavy rains.
That's
so you
true.
should want to be prepared at all times.
So in preparedness, what does that actually mean? Like, is it medication? Is it just water? Is it getting, shields for your windows? What does that mean?
To see it, that's all good information and good things that you want to have in your disaster supply kit. And I know on the city website, we do have links to that information, and the emergency management office would be happy to share information to you. You can always give us a call. And, but basically have the basic supplies of water, enough gallon a day for each person in your family, up to 3 days. We usually like to go more than 5 days. I would recommend that.
Okay.
Right.
And then don't forget about your 4-legged friends and family members.
Yeah,
very
right.
much so. But you mentioned medications. They are very, very important. Make sure you have those. And if not, also the prescription bottles so you can get them refilled quickly after an event.
Right.
Then important papers you definitely want, because this area, when it rains, there's parts of the city that flood.
Right.
And you never know. So having copies of your important papers scanned on a thumb drive is recommended. But sometimes if you can't make copies, and throw them in a Ziploc bag and take them with you.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. Hampton is in a place that you have to really think about the flooding a lot. And so the storm surge is one of the big things that we always hear about around here. And could you talk to us a little bit about kind of preparing for that and the zones, knowing your zone and
Sure.
where you live in the city and that type of thing to be prepared for, certain flooding events?
Absolutely. We kicked off a campaign a couple years ago about Know Your Zone, and it's the website is knowyourZoneVA.org.
Okay.
And they've simplified zones, so there's zones A through D, and
Yeah.
so really A is in the lowest lying areas of the city, and then B is a little higher, C is a little higher, and D is higher, and then we have some areas that aren't in any zones.
Right.
So we just recommend folks to pay attention to the evacuation orders, and generally you can go to friends and family that are a little bit higher zones at times. So in Florence last year, there was the governor called for a mandatory evacuation of zone A.
Right.
So really you could have moved, if you've got friends and neighbors, in zone C or D, just to wait out the storm. Luckily, we were
Right. We
missed
it all. Yeah.
Sure. But the season's still young, and it only takes one in our area. So, but definitely want to encourage people. Brian, the flood insurance. If you don't have flood insurance,
Right.
Now is still a good time to purchase flood insurance. And if you're in a special flood hazard, Hampton, through a lot of its resiliency efforts and things that it's
Right.
done, you can get a discount up to 15%. So we're part of the National Flood Insurance Program community rating system. So we try to lessen the financial impact on our citizens.
Right.
And then if you're not in a special flood hazard, you're already getting a big discount. And I always like to say peace of mind insurance. You never know when you need it. I've been on plenty of disasters where homeowners insurance doesn't cover flooding and how water gets in your house. So it may only take one, and it can devastate. FEMA doesn't always come in afterwards. It has to be a presidentially declared disaster in order to get federal funding.
Okay.
But their goal is not to make you, whole and better. It's to bring you to a certain level so that you can move back into your homes. So having insurance is an added bonus and peace of mind.
Absolutely.
So going back to like the evacuation order, going back to Florence and everything, and some people might not have heeded to that. What do you speak to that? Like, what are the rules and what are the laws? I mean, it's mandatory. You're supposed to get out. But to those that might say, oh, I'm going to stay, I'm going to wait it out, even though I'm in zone A, what do we say to those people?
We still recommend that you, for your safety and the safety of your family, to heed the warnings. So when there is an evacuation, and a mandatory evacuation is a mandatory evacuation,
Right.
By law, you should evacuate.
Okay, great.
And kind of going back about the evacuations and all these different things, what are the things that the city does? What does your office do kind of in an emergency situation? So be it, we can go back. I know it's more than just hurricanes that you guys take care of and are being prepared for, but during this season, what are the things that your office does to kind of prepare for these events?
Well, we do a lot of public outreach events such as this, and we also go out to community groups and share information, and then we also hand out information through schools. We do mailings and things like that to help citizens prepare. But we also, as a city, work together to prepare should we have an event, and we work with a lot of the key operating departments and even the support internal departments to kind of be prepared so that the city can continue to serve its citizens during an emergency. And should we have an emergency where we have to work 24/7, we open our emergency operations center to kind of have situational awareness across the city and to provide services as needed. And we have all the key departments in that center so that decisions can be made quickly and expeditiously. And then you all are also part of that, where you get the information out to residents, so that keeping people informed is very, very important too.
It is, and it's also where like you said, all the departments are there, so decisions can be made quickly. But there's a lot of groundwork ahead. I noticed with just kind of being part of the EOC and that type of thing, and all the preparation and getting the shelters prepared before the storm even comes, and having those things ready. And it's really kind of cool to see kind of behind the curtain is what the city is doing to kind of help the residents and make a safe city. So.
Absolutely. And we like to be prepared, and we take, can always be better. We learn from every incident. And so we do have shelters. If we go back to the evacuation,
Right.
If you don't have a place to go, with a mandatory evacuation, the city will have public shelters open. I mean, it's not a hotel, but it keeps you safe and your family safe. And we do have a pet shelter also. And we just pay attention to the news to figure out which one we decide to open. It depends
Right.
on the storm and the event. It could be anything. So,
Gotcha.
So if I wanted to volunteer, because, I'm in zone D and, I just want to help out. I've heard of something called CERT. I have no idea what that stands for, but is that something that I can sign up for? Are there other things that I can do?
sure. Well, there's lots of things you can do to volunteer. We love volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers. But to first answer your question about CERT, that is the Community Emergency Response Team program. It's a federal program where we have gotten grants to train citizens on basic preparedness of all types of disasters, all hazards. It's 20 hours, and there's no cost to you to participate except your time. And then you do get a preparedness bag. And the concept behind that is really neighbors helping neighbors.
Okay.
And so that, if you know how to use a fire extinguisher, if you know how to turn your gas meter off, just safely, they go through all of those types of things. And then also, how do you do basic first aid, should something happen? And really, it is the first line. So if there's an event and first responders can't get to you right away, your neighbor might be able to get to you until the first responders can get there. And so that's one way. And then there's a lot of nonprofit organizations that you can volunteer that are very active in disasters. We also, as emergency management, participate in the voluntary organizations that are active in disaster, the VOADs, and you can look them up. There's plenty, if you are looking for an opportunity to volunteer, that may fit what you're looking for. And the city, through the neighborhood services, Department of Community Development or Division of Community and Development.
Right. Neighborhood housing and neighborhood services.
Has opportunities. They're always looking for volunteers to help in various aspects, and sometimes just helping with resiliency projects around the city, whether it's planting or helping, the elderly, shore up their homes a little bit, actually may help them weather a storm or event much better.
Okay.
So let's go. I want to recap kind of a couple of things before we finish up, and that's kind of when the storm's coming and you're getting all your items together for your emergency preparedness kit. Kind of what items should that be in that kit? Right. So we talked about medical records before and stuff for your animals and medicines,
water,
and that type of thing.
Food, and non-perishable food. And if you don't have, canned food, and so usually what I do is add some every time I go to the grocery store. So you don't have to do it all at one time because it does get a little expensive to try to stock up all at one time. However, if you just add things to it, then you can always rotate it back out. But I put it actually in a tub, and you can put it in a suitcase if you got back issues to roll it along. Make sure you have a can opener. A lot of the cans have pop tops now, but some
not all of them. Not all of them. Right. I ran into one the other day.
Absolutely. So besides the food, flashlights. And batteries for those flashlights or some things, but we have a whole comprehensive list on the city's website, and we have brochures and flyers for that. So,
and what is that website? So it's
hampton.gov/EOC. Is that the website? Let's see. I'm looking at it now. Emergency management. So if you go to hampton.gov/emergency management. Yep. Hampton.gov/EOC will work. Okay. Emergency management will work. There's a bunch of different ways that you can get it. Or you can just go to hampton.gov and do a search. You'll find everything you need.
Or you can call 311. And they'll get us information. That's easy. But before, you can have your kit, but I do want to recommend also that you have a family disaster plan. So
walk us through that.
Really just take an opportunity, sit down with your family, your kids. Should you get separated? I mean, it could be a man-made event versus a natural event. What the plan is, know people's numbers. Make sure your children memorize your cell phone numbers. Nowadays, you could just hit a name and it'll go there.
And no one knows the numbers anymore.
Nobody knows those numbers. Back in the day, we had to memorize numbers.
But now it's like, you might get two and you'll be lucky.
And if Siri's not working or your Samsung, call so-and-so, you might.
Or the phone died because, there's no electricity to charge it.
Yeah. Or there's a landline, that phone that you can use, and maybe having.
Oh, what's a landline?
Oh, no, like, what's that?
And we recommend to have a phone number outside the area that family members can call to check in and everything like that, because usually in the immediate area after a disaster, those phones lines are either down, tied up, busy, but you can call outside the area into another zip code. So if your grandmother or mom lives in another state or somewhere else, a friend, have folks know to call that number to check in. So, but having that plan, sitting and going through it with your family so they all kind of know, I think is very, very important. And then you'll have your kit. And then evacuate if you're, asked to do so.
Right.
How often would you recommend doing that? I think of like the drills they do in school with tornado drills and different things might be once a year, but should we go over that during a snowstorm and possible tornado and possible hurricane without scaring little kids? How often do you do that?
It's up to your family. So, for example, my child is very scared of tornadoes. So it has always been, but she knows what to do.
Right.
And we've identified places in every house we've been in. But we try to do it. I like to do it quarterly because with every season, there's a different type of storm.
Right.
And there's lots of different things. And like you said, they practice the fire drills all the time. So it's muscle memory, doing it more often. Okay. And you could do little chunks. One day, one of the sessions, you may just want to talk about disaster kit. What are we going to put in it? And have a discussion. And they may want all their Oreos and cookies and things like that.
Right.
But make sure you rotate it in and out.
Yeah. It's like, this is expired.
Yes.
So, okay, great.
And probably a good thing to put in there too is things to do.
Very much
for kids.
Favorite toys and different stuff.
Especially, electronics
and they're not working. It's like, okay, good old word scramble is always great.
Books, coloring books, things like that. Yes.
Right. Well, thanks so much, Hui-Shan. We really appreciate it. And this is, I think, just a great opportunity to kind of take a look back and see what do you have in place and what do you need to get in place, to make those preparations. And it's definitely that time of year to think about that as we're in storm season.
Well, thanks for having me. It's never too early. It's never too late. Folks think it's always late. Oh, we're already in the season. I haven't done it.
Right.
Absolutely is never too late. And even if you take that elephant one bite at a time, it can be done. It is challenging at times, but there are resources out there, and, give us a call. I mean, we'd be happy to help you or answer your questions one-on-one in the city, in emergency management.
All right, fantastic. And again, you can always call 757-727-8311 if you're in Hampton, or 311 if you're just in Hampton, or you visit always hampton.gov. All right.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Hui-Shan. Great talking to you.